my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. On Wednesday, we have a lot of fun things for Wednesday. We have the butterfly quilt, we have the Jolly Bar week 2, I have a finish and an almost finish, and we have our challenge thing for today. So first, let's do the butterfly block. Here is mine, and I did one little substitution. So I'm going to talk you through, whoops. And I knew those were stacked. I knew it. I knew. So you make 2 of them. So anyways, let's go to the other side and I will talk you through the fabric selection. I kind of think my job here for the Tula Pink butterfly kit, they sew along, is really just to show you where the fabric goes, because the blocks are really easy. Rectangles, strips, squares. Okay, so let's take a look. And I want to remind you of a few things when we're looking at this. But first, we had a little tip from one of our readers, one of the people following along, that noticed that in 2 spots the printing is offset. So you can see here, see there, that half square triangle has 2 colors dropped into it. And you can see that rectangle, whoops, there we go. That rectangle there has 2 colors. See, that dark green really wouldn't be there. They're just offset printing. And I will tell you that Tula, when I talked to Tula one time, she told me that the half square triangles, you don't have to be exact matching those colors. We're basically going to use up fabrics that, like leftover pieces and stuff like that. So you might actually want to sew some pieces together. It's a color thing to sort of pull the edges and soften the edges of the quilt. It doesn't have to have exact placement like is shown there. And it might be that some of them, maybe you can't squeeze it out because it wasn't really, I don't think, done as an exact placement. Although she says you have plenty of fabric, so. Now I'm going to take these pieces off because those really, if you want to mark them as just note to yourself that they're just a printing thing and not something we're trying to accomplish, unless you really want to make a scrappy little half square triangle, which would be kind of cute. Okay, let's look at the fabrics. But first, remember, I'm using the kit and then adding a little bit into it. The colors, there are solids, and I think that's where some of you are struggling a bit with your solids. You shouldn't be at this point, because the previous page, you have all the fabrics. So all you have to do is mark. You can put them in this sequence if you want, so that when you go to pull it out of your bin, they're always in the sequence exactly like they're set up. Well, I think we have used almost everything. I don't know that we haven't used that teal and stuff, but we have used these that we're using again. Those have all been used. So you should have them well under control at this point. Now, to look at what we're doing today, we're doing 2 of the same block. We are doing this half square triangle. It's like a log cabin, but it's like they call them like half log cabins. So you do a center rather than going all the way around. You're just doing one side of it, and they're identical. So you have the polka dot in the middle, and then you have the rust color, which we used prior with the polka dot. Then you have this orange and gold floral. Then the sort of red. It's not like Christmas red, but it's that little bit more muted red. The pink geodite, or jewel type thing, and then this pink that we've also used before. Now, it's not the light one, it's not the light pink, it's that darker, a little bit darker one. But use this guide over here. You have your guide right here, so don't get confused. Just use this. Now, I am going to switch out this pink here, and I'm going to use one from my collection of Tula Pink fabric. So I am going to trade that out. So mine will have this piece sewn in there. And now we'll make some blocks. So I want to remind you on the cutting. Now, a few of these are if you're using the kit, like if you have bigger pieces of fabric, it's not going to be an issue. But when you have something like a strip like this, we do not want to cut strips this way right now, because we need to preserve these bigger units for making some of the half square triangles that will go around the quilt. So let me just show you on this block, and then we have it in a few more versions of this log cabin block for the quilt. So I will be doing from the end and then subcutting. So subcutting be like I do one strip off of here, and then I have to do a couple of small ones, and then I'll do another strip, and I will be doing the longer piece. So that is how you go about preserving. Now you do have a little bit of waste, and you could maybe, if you wanted to, go and do some calculations, but I would just, if you're going to do it this way, then you want to be measuring and not, you know, just what you need and not going across the whole length, because we definitely need this chunk up here to be doing the half square triangles. So I need one more of these, and probably I could have done it more efficiently. Could I have done it? No, I don't think it'll fit. They wouldn't fit. No, so I have to do it off the end because there's not enough width to do what I needed. Okay, so I have a little bit of waste from that one, but I have the units I need, and these will be going like this as I lay this out on the design board so I can take to the machine. And then I will be doing the next round and the next round and the next round until we have them all, which in your pattern, see, this is what we'll be doing for the next few weeks, are half log cabin blocks. So you'll be really, really good with them when you get down there. So we're doing this one today, which we only need 2. Then we need 6, and 16. So when if you want to make some of these in advance, this would be a good plan. I might do that. I might make a few of those in advance. Maybe particularly when I'm using this orange. 2 of those blocks use the orange. So yeah, they're tiny, but they're mighty. There are a lot of this style unit, and they're broken down. Also, we want to get to half square triangles fairly soon. Like maybe next week I might have a discussion on getting the half square triangles started, because there's quite a few to make, and it's just easier to have them as we go. So I think next week is going to be the week we do that. All right, the next thing we have are the Jolly Bar blocks, and what did I do with them? Well, before we do the Jolly Bar, because I need this space on the wall, let's talk about the little love notes. This is a free pattern from the Fat Quarter Shop, and I'm going to put mine on my front door, so I've got it quilted. And I just did that this morning, a filming day, which is yesterday. I did this, and I did a few little clips. I did one prior talking about using the batting scraps, and then I did one talking about this quilting a little bit. So let's run through those. Here is the love letter. This is the one I want to put on the door, so I need to find some batting scraps. So let's take a look at what I have here. I've got my bag, which has batting scraps, and what I want, these are small. They're like for cleaning. They're narrow, or yeah. So I need to have one of the bigger ones. So in here, look at this. So I've got also narrow. That's a little bit bigger. This is quite a bit bigger. So let's take a look at these two and see which one. I want to use the one that comes closest, and I might add something to it. So here we go. This one is really close. So it's almost exactly this width, and then I have a strip over there. So if I want to be extraordinarily frugal, like extraordinarily frugal, so I can like pull that batting, because batting does have a little stretch. Yes, it does. And what's out here? Got a little bit, see, a little bit on that edge. Then what I would do if I was going to go this route would be, let's find one maybe this is long enough. Do I have one? 2. So if I wanted to do this and then a chunk down here. So that would be super frugal, because I would use this up and then just have another sort of cleaning scrap here. I don't think any of those are longer. Well, one's longer, but it's also wider, so I could do that one. I could change these 2 out, and so for this length here, can you even see it? Yeah, there we go. For the most part. So I could do this guy, and then would just have to have one piece of fabric. So I'm going to do that. Just going to take the scissors here and cut it. Now I do not care if it's overlapping. So that means I could overlap it just a little bit like this, or more. it doesn't matter. And in the scheme of life, this is really not going to be that noticeable. The quilting is going to smush it down. Now I will put this on my backing and then do the wave stitch. So when you look at the front, see the top and bottom are pretty tight. I don't have, well, let's see, on this bottom this just coming right to the edge, and on the top, okay, also right to the, okay, I'm going to do it. I am going to use the extraordinarily frugal method for this guy, and I might go ahead and just do a little spray based for him so that it doesn't shift when I get to quilting. And I'm just going to do the simple wave back and forth like this across, probably with a light pink thread. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so this guy will get sandwiched up, and I will do the same thing now with the rest of that batting for the pillow, because remember, I'm going to take this and do the rectangle pillow. He'll go in the center, and so I need to get the measurements and everything, and so I'll get this set up also for the pillow. All right, done. For this piece, because it's small, what I did first was just come and do the wave stitch on the seam, right here on this seam, and then I did the outer one about, this is, you know, when it's under the foot, here, let's see, when it's under the foot, and I'll sew it here in a minute, it's about 1/4 inch distance. Then what I did was I did those two, just did those two, then I came over and went through this middle line right through here. Now you could use some painter's tape to mark it if you didn't want to draw. I don't use painter's tape on something this small. I just sort of eyeballed it and kept my eye focused here as I was coming towards it so that I would hit it on this side, you know, just sort of checking the alignment. Now I'm going to go for this section about that same distance, and I'm just using the edge of the foot and keeping it somewhat, you know, even as best that I can manually, because I'm not marking it. And then as I get closer into the middle, I'll gauge whether I need to adjust so that they all look even. After that, I'll start on the other side. I'll probably do this seam, I'll probably do this seam because it's a seam I can see, and then I'll start from this middle one and just run them all out like that. Let me show you the distance that I'm going away from the line. So it is probably about 1/4 inch. See on the left side there, the foot, maybe 1/4 inch. Yeah. And then I will just do that again. But I'm going to work this side, then I'll come over here and do it about 1/4 inch away from that one. Then come back to here, then come back to here. And then as I get to this middle zone, I'll gauge whether it needs to be a little wider to fill it in evenly. Or I may even like end up splitting it and then doing on either side, something like that. Just so that, but I'll do it very much as an eyeball and very much as a gradual to just work it in. That way I don't have to mark things. This is a small piece. I'm not entering it in a show or anything like that. It's just for fun for my front door. This is the point where I decide, you know, how many more would I fit in here. So I'm going to fit 2 more, and then this section will be done. And they'll probably be just a little bit wider, a little bit further in from the edges than the prior ones to give it a nice even feel. Now I will put the stripe on. Do I have that? Yeah. So I have the stripe binding, so I will be getting that cut and put on here. The backing, I used my Harmony wide back. I had a scrap of this from one of the bigger quilts that didn't use the whole wide back, and so that's really cool. All right, let me just put this to the side. Put that over there. And we're going to do the Jolly Bar. So the Jolly Bar book, we're doing 2 blocks every week, and this week we have this one. Ta-da! And this block, which goes, there's, you know, the whole quilt is done with these when you do the whole quilt from the book. So let's go ahead and look at that a little bit closer. So remember, you have the list of all the blocks as they go in order from the sheet, the supply sheet that you printed off. So you have that. Now I did buy this extra gray that I talked about and use some of it in that love letters. But it will be for the one block in here. That gray, the extra gray, what you need, will be used for this block. So not that one, this one here. So I'll be using it in that part of this block. So the blocks this week are the herb garden and the, what's that called? Stained glass. Okay, so the herb garden and the stained glass. So let's take a look at mine. I had pre-planned colors, so I'm sticking with that for the most part. So, you know, once you start using up these fabrics in a Jolly Bar or a layer cake, because it's like, you know, there's only so much. So you have to, I mean, I found laying it out ahead of time made it so that they are more balanced and you don't end up at the end with like all of your gray in one corner. Because of the layout, it's kind of important that you sort of look at the fabrics and think where they're going to go ahead of time. So there I've got pinks and the sort of turquoisey green. And then here is the other block. That one's the first is stained glass. No, that's herb garden, and this is stained glass. This is stained glass, and you do 2 of these. And so the directions today tell you how many to make, and the book gives you all the sizes. So I think that's super cute. They actually go one above the other, which I think is, I don't know if they touch or if there's a sashing between it. Oh, there's a sashing. There'll be a sashing between it like that. So let's go ahead the other side and put all 4 blocks up on the wall. I will put these up on the wall here so we can see what they look like, all 4 of them. So last week's and this week's, we have 1, 2, like here. So this is how, and some of them have, like I showed you on that mock-up, there will be some spacers, and that all will come at the end when we get the directions from the Fat Quarter Shop when they make that public. Did I do that right? No, they've got it angled like this. Not that it really matters, but there. So I have a picture of this on, I'll have a picture of it straight on Friday on my website too, so you can see it. But yeah, they look great together, don't they? All right. Now our challenge for today is the Bag Lady Challenge. So do you have bags? And what are you doing with your, do you have bags of bags? Bags of bags? And I have even more. Okay, I need another hand to do that one. All right, bags of bags. Ta-da! Oh, so I try to keep my bags of bags organized, which means I put them, except for I've got, what is that? Why is that there? So that I want to put them inside other bags, like here. Like I was just lazy. I just shoved them in. This particular container is something, I don't know, it was an internet pattern like years and years and years ago, but it is a bit floppy. I think I would like to get a firmer side basket so that it doesn't just sort of sag out. And then, yeah, so these are some of my bags of bags. I also have 2 of these, which are, you know, the recycled grocery bags, that kind of a thing. Tote bags. I am a bag lady. I love bags. I love purses. And so, you know, I have to declutter these often because I just get them and, you know, yeah, and they do wear out. But today, organize your bags. That is your organization challenge for today. It is kind of a very focused one. So gather up all the places that you have bags, review them. Are some of them things that you just don't really need anymore? Are they things you can gift, or maybe not gift, but you can like maybe go to another place, somebody else might use them. If you're giving things away, put them in those bags to give them away. And tell people that you don't need the bags back. Yes, I have done that. And there's some of these other bags that are a little bit outsized, so I need to figure out what to do with them. All right, and my finish, the binding is on this, the Holiday Homies. This is some other Tula Pink fabric. You can still get the flannel version of this, which would be oh so cozy. But mine is done. I used, again, my Harmony wide back, and there is my big old label that I showed you. See the label? Ta-da! Isn't that fun? And this is all I have left. So pretty much, I think I cut up some little pieces. I can't decide, like, is this Christmas, or can I just put it with the black fabric? I mean, it's obviously got some, looks like peppermints to me. Also looks like radioactive symbols, some of them, but I think I'm going to put it with the black fabric, because I really don't look at this and think, when I'm making a Christmas quilt, this is going to be perfect. I more or less think if I'm doing something with a lot of black fabrics, this black and red with this little geometrics will be really good. So I think that's where I'm going with that. Also, don't forget to enter to win a copy of the kit for making making the Harrisonburg, Virginia Quilt Museum quilt with my fabrics, the sleepover fabrics. Benertex and Orifil are sponsoring that. Yes, it'll be fun. We can't wait, Wendy and I, for sewing along with the Harrisonburg, because so many of you are going to have spectacular quilts from this. Okay, you're going to make Jolly Bar blocks, and if you're doing the butterfly quilt, these are the 2 blocks. Get 2 blocks that you're making this week. So there you go. They're all pretty simple, straightforward blocks. You'll have a lot of fun. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.